Hey, let's talk some NBA playoffs here.
Let's do it.
It's about time we get into this.
Okay.
First off, the Mavs, this is such a bad look. Like, they were in the playoffs. They made this trade. They brought in Kyrie. They're out now, so they didn't even make the play-in. So Kyrie's gone. There's no way they're re-signing Kyrie. So this was an absolute fail. Luka's going to want out of there. I don't see how Luka Doncic decides to stay in Dallas. Jason Kidd has
Did he verbally say anything about leaving, or is there any...
The season is so freshly over. Like, they just got fined 2 days ago for tanking $750,000.
Holy.
Because the last 2 games, rather than try to make the play-in, they only played Luka in like the first quarters so that they would lose on purpose, because they have a pick in one of the trades that they made from a couple of years ago when they brought Spencer Dinwiddie in.
Okay.
And they traded Kristaps Porzingis to the Wizards. They made a trade that included one of the draft picks that they have that was top 10 protected. So if it landed in the top 10, they didn't have to move the draft pick that year. So this year, they were like 11th from the bottom, and then they chose to lose. So they finished in the bottom 10. So they get to keep that pick. So they don't have to give them the pick again till next year. So they're going to in a lottery pick now. It's not a great lottery odds, but I mean, there's a chance they get Wembanyama. But the NBA looked at it as purposely tanking, and they fined the franchise $750,000.
Well, it kind of does look like it, though.
You look like a goof troop because you traded these guys to Brooklyn for a dude that was supposed to help Luka Doncic reach that next level. Luka had the first half of the season where he was in the MVP conversations with Embiid and Giannis and Jokic, right?
Wasn't he?
Oh, he totally was. The point per game average he had was insane. And then you brought Kyrie in, and Dinwiddie and Dorian Finney-Smith are doing fine in Brooklyn. Brooklyn's in the playoffs. What happened to you? You have 2 superstars, 2 all-world players, all-world.
What happened? Yeah, dude, maybe they just don't get along.
Kyrie's a cancer, and I'm not entirely sure that Luka's heart's in Dallas anymore. And Jason Kidd's clearly not a coach that's cut out to really meld people together. Jason Kidd was a really good player. Jason Kidd is, from all intents and purposes, from the records that are out there, a hell of a wife beater. Like, he has teed off on that a few times. So he knows what he's doing in those instances. As far as coaching the Dallas Mavericks, he leaves a fucking lot to be desired, because you should have made a top 6 spot, not even a play-in spot. The fact that you didn't make even a play-in, you're out. You're going to lose Kyrie. You lost Dorian Finney-Smith. You lost Spencer Dinwiddie. You tanked for this stupid pick to keep, and now you've got fined, and your franchise looks goofy. You're gonna lose Luka Doncic at some point.
So you think
this is a bad look for Dallas?
Yeah.
That's what I would put that at. So before we get into the playoffs and who's actually in them, because now the play-ins are done, we've got the actual brackets. We know who the teams are. That's the one thing. Out of all the teams that made the play-in and didn't make the playoffs, the Raptors or Oklahoma City, there's still a lot of potential in those franchises. OKC on the way up. Chet Holmgren come back next year. Who knows? They could just Shai Gilgeous-Alexander next year looks as good as he looked this year with the people around him, with Giddey, and you bring fucking Dortz in there still. Chet Holmgren comes back. That team could be a perennial playoff contender. The Raptors, they didn't blow it up. Siakam, OG, sure, they got a couple contracts they need to figure out. Gary Trent, Van Vliet, Scotty Barnes, deep team. Lots of future. Chicago, probably in the same place as Dallas is. We're going to have to blow it up. Levine and DeRozan don't look great together. They can't put 2-3 games back-to-back of that high-quality play. And Levine just, since he's been hurt the last couple of years, he's only 26, 27. He looks like he's really lost a step, and he needs that step because that's the way he plays. Yeah, the knee injuries, knees and stuff, man.
I thought when you said that he was a little older, but no.
But we thought that about Chicago. They made the play-in, and people were like, dope. Chicago was a fringe playoff team. The fact that they made the play-in and were competitive enough and didn't tank, I think people were happy enough that Chicago at least showed that they were making an effort. Dallas, on the other hand, they fell 5 spots since they got Kyrie and then missed the fucking playoffs. So I think Chicago people think is going to get blown up. On the other end, at Dallas, I think they were thinking was going to make a playoff or a championship run, and now that's probably going to get blown up.
Why is just poor management, huh? Just the guy, he did that intentionally, right, to tank.
Well, that in the last couple of games, yeah. But I mean, to get to that point where you have to make a decision like that, where you're so desperate to keep a pick this year because you know you're going to lose Kyrie, that you have nothing to build around with Luka, that you just needed to. So you took a $750,000 fine and like basically lost on purpose in front of your fans while you're trying to make
was so bad.
That's a bad look.
That is so bad.
Whatever. Okay, so let's talk about the East first. East should be fairly easy. Bucks #1 seed taking on the Heat, which made the 8th seed by losing their first play-in game against the Hawks and then coming back and winning their second one against the Bulls, who beat the Raptors. I would imagine the Bucks and Giannis and Drew Holiday and Brooks Lopez and all them are going to stomp the shit out of Jimmy Butler and Adebayo. And I don't think
hopefully they do.
The Heat are deep. The Heat have the pedigree. They've been there. But this year they look worse than they looked last year when they finished first. They barely made it this year. Adebayo has not taken the step that I think anybody thought. Tyler Hero's a bucket, but Tyler Hero doesn't do anything else. Jimmy can't.
Adebayo is supposed to be pretty good.
Adebayo's, I mean, he is good at a few things. He's just not good at being a superstar center.
Though, right?
He's pretty young. He's 26, 25.
Something like that.
He's out there every night. He's pretty consistent. He's just Vucevic or something. He's not that next level guy. He's not what we've seen out of like a Kristaps Porzingis in Washington, who finally had a healthy year, and you're like, holy shit, bro. For a 7'3" dude, this guy can fucking ball. When he's healthy, he balls. Like, Adebayo's good. He plays good fundamental basketball. He's good in the paint, gets rebounds.
He's not that next level superstar. He
has the occasional 20-plus point game, and I mean, it's just not what I think they were hoping they were going to get out of him. I think they thought he was going to have a couple electric cherries on top of some of those categories, and he really leveled out fast, and he hasn't risen up. It's a lot like what you're seeing with Ayton in Phoenix. Same thing, same body type, same expectations, same position, same whole thing. And Ayton's kind of the same thing where it's fucking one game looks good, and then we have 2 or 3 games that look average. They're average. They're not bad. They're just average. But you're beating the Bucks with an average because Giannis is going to just drive this ball down your throat. So it's going to be easy. The Bucks win, beat the Heat, moving on. Second series, #2 overall, Boston Celtics, who were in the championship last year and lost to the Warriors against the aforementioned Atlanta Hawks that beat the Heat, like I was saying, in the first play-in game, where he only had to win the one. I like Trae Young. I like DeJounte Murray. I like Collins. I like Hunter. I like the Hawks. I just don't see them beating the Celtics. The Celtics are they're too deep. Tatum and Brown are they're just mashers, and they're both in their fucking such young prime. And there's no way that that's going to transition for the Heat. It might be a good series. You might see Trae Young really kind of like, I know we thought we saw it a couple of years ago in the series with the Knicks, where we really saw him like break out, but then last year there was definitely a downturn.
Who would you say is the biggest player who's ever played for the Celtics? Is it Larry Bird or Magic?
Bill Russell. Are you talking about popularity, or are you talking about wins? Bill Russell's got 10 championships.
Okay, that's good.
So I mean,
but popularity,
different time in basketball, though, right? No, shot clocks were different and stuff. Well, Bill Russell's like fucking 60s, late.
That's a big.
Yeah, a long time ago. Long time ago, right? But Bill Russell, but Larry. I mean, that Larry team with Parrish and McHale, and that was a really good team, obviously. And then Boston's had, the Kevin Garnett. But Garnett obviously spent the majority of his career with the Timberwolves. So you think of Kevin as a Celtic because of the championship, because of him and Pierce and Rondo.
A longer history with the Timberwolves.
But I think of him a lot more, because my memories are more with him being a Timberwolf, even though that one run, I guess it was 2 years, but the one run where they won the championship against the Lakers, which I don't like. But, well, they beat Kobe, so I don't really like that. But so there's a few guys that have played for the Celtics that I would say maybe stand out as the Celtics. Larry could be your answer, though. I think maybe a lot of people would say that. It's popular enough in the mainstream media era where Larry was around when cable and TV was around, so everybody could see. And Larry was good enough that, and he was a lifetime Celtic.
Didn't he hurt his back or something? That's why he stopped playing basketball? What, he did. Moving something?
Laying a driveway for his mom.
Laying a driveway, that's right.
He was such a redneck because he's from Indiana. He's just such a farm boy.
Yeah, I can do it myself.
He was rich and could have hired someone, but in the off season, his mom wanted him to lay like an asphalt driveway. And so he laid it for her and like tweaked the back, and the back never got better. And that's
Mama Bird, you should have said, "Can you hire somebody to get me a new drive?" Not say, "Can you pay me?"
Mama Bird should have just done it and sent Larry the bill and been like, "By the way, this guy."
Oh, I'm Larry Bird's mom. Can you come here and pay my thing?
Here's this thing, Larry. Here's the bill. Thanks, darling. Love you.
Yes.
But Larry had a good career coaching afterwards with Indiana. Like, I like Larry Bird, man. Like, it's a shame that it got cut a little bit short, but Larry shoot the lights out, dude. Larry's the highlights of Larry back in the day. Such a shit.
I was watching like him just teaching like people how to like, shoot shot or whatever.
Shoot shot,
whatever. And he's like, I'm gonna miss this one. I'll show you how it's gonna bounce. And he's like, oh, I can't even miss it. He just goes right. And it was pretty crazy how he's gonna shoot.
Larry was just so good.
So yeah, shoot shot.
Celtics will beat the Hawks in the shoot shot competition. 76ers in the Nets. The aforementioned again Brooklyn Nets we talked about with Dinwiddie, and I got the 76ers to win the championship this year.
You do?
I've had that since the season started. Embiid's gonna win the MVP. 76ers are gonna win the championship. They took that step. Embiid's been in most of the season. Embiid looks dominant, absolutely in a league full of dominance with, again,
he stands
Doncic, Jokic, fucking Giannis. He is definitely having a season this year. And he 2 years in a row finishing second overall in the MVP. He's going to win it, I think, this year. I don't think there's much question. Maxey took a step into being an absolute superstar. Starting to look like maybe after Anthony Edwards and Tyrese Halliburton that Maxey was the best player in that draft, even maybe potentially better than LaMelo Ball. So that's not too bad.
No.
Tobias Harris still looking good. Obviously, they got James Harden, who can shoot the lights out, one of the best scorers in the history of professional basketball. As long as the 76ers can stay healthy, I think that, they're going to have some hard series going through Boston, going through Milwaukee. But I think this is going to be their year. I think Embiid wins the MVP. And I think the Nets, while Mikal Bridges has been having a fucking, bro, since he got traded to the Nets, is Mikal Bridges like a first-team All-Star next year? What the fuck is this? Like, Bridges went from Phoenix where like he was fine, but like he went to the Nets where he's just like so damn good now.
Oh, really?
The Nets are good. They look as good or better now than they looked when they had Durant and Harden and Irving. Because
better chemistry or something?
They were just so. You had these expectations, and every time they fell short, it was like really getting gut punched because they had all these Hall of Famers, and it was supposed to just be so easy. And every time it looked like they kind of slipped on a banana peel, you were like, how are they? But these guys, the expectations are so much lower, and you're right, the chemistry and the way they play off each other and the fact that they're all just really high-end utility guys that just know what they're meant to do. Bro, the flow in Brooklyn now Brooklyn looked like they just traded all these guys, 3 Hall of Famers, even Irving's going to make a Hall of Fame, 3 Hall of Famers, brought in Ben Simmons, who's an absolute fucking bust. And they looked like their franchise was going to be in the shitter for 5 years. And just the guys they brought in off these trades, Cam Johnson, Mikal Bridges, Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, and then the emergence of a couple of guys like Cam Thomas and stuff. Brooklyn looks like they might be damn good for a while.
Damn.
So good job on the trades. Like they moved Irving, they moved Durant, and it looked like rushed because they were demanded trades and then they rushed them out the door.
Now we want these guys gone.
They were gone so quick.
Oh shit!
And what they brought back looked like a rushed package with no superstars in it.
Maybe
and I would
it wasn't.
say now in the inverse, as we have a bit of time to reflect on it, if Bridges keeps this pace, Bridges is a bona fide superstar without question.
Yeah.
And now that he plays in Brooklyn, where he's going to get nothing but that New York media hype, this kid might become, like I said, he might be an NBA player by next year. And the guys around him that they brought back as well all look like they're just a seamless fit. They just plug and play. It's pretty nice. They're going to get smoked by the 76ers, but their future looks like they might be one superstar to put with Bridges away from having a team that could compete for the first place spot in the East, because all the pieces to make a good franchise are there, save for that one game changer to put with Bridges.
What would you say what the game changer would be?
I don't know. They're probably pretty gun shy because they gave up a lot for Durant, gave up a lot for Harden, gave up a lot to bring in Kyrie, and then just had to ship them all off, and they were all game changers. So maybe Brooklyn likes this vibe they got right now, and they're going to maybe ride this for a year and just see what they can do to maybe tweak things and not overcommit to another guy by overextending themselves. Because like I said, they look as viable now with utility pieces and allowing a guy like Bridges to flourish, rather than just trying to cram Hall of Famers down your throat and win with that proverbial big 3.
He's trying to make a Hall of Famer.
They might. I mean, I know it's been 20 games only, but Bridges has taken a step, a notable. Anybody watching Brooklyn Nets basketball has realized that.
So there's like 20 games in?
No, it's like 20 games since that trade.
Oh, since the trade.
Since he came over from Phoenix when Durant went to Phoenix, right?
Gotcha,
So,
okay.
and then the last one, 4 and 5, the series I think is going to be the series of the first round that I think. And I think I've talked about this enough, so I'm not going to give you a prediction on who I think is going to win because I have no fucking clue. I think if you watch a series of basketball in the first round and you want to watch amazing basketball, the Cleveland Cavaliers playing the New York Knicks, just like I said they were going to 4 weeks ago. Finished 4, finished 5. Knicks
you did
Cavs.
say that, didn't you?
Brunson fucking has had a hell of a year in New York. Julius Randle's good. RJ Barrett, little Canadian content. And then Cleveland is just deep. Like Garland and Donovan Mitchell, Jared Allen, Mobley and Okoro. And it's two teams that are
big names there,
two teams on the move. The East is getting crowded.
Where did Cleveland get all that Skrilla?
The East is getting crowded with young, scary teams, man. Like, it's almost by next year, we're going to start looking at Giannis as a bit of the old man in the East. And Giannis only like 30. He's going to start looking like the old man because all these other teams with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, and Embiid's about that also. It's 76ers, same thing, going to start looking dinosaurish compared to the Cavs, the Knicks, the Nets.
Fresh faces.
Some really good young teams biting at heels, man, biting at heels.
Maybe they're taking chances on these young guns.
Over to the West. All the way over to the West we go. We're the Nuggets, the first seed Denver Nuggets, and the reigning two-time MVP. The Joker, Nikola Jokic, and Jamal Murray, and everybody, they're ready to step into a playoff run, hopefully that's going to go longer than...
Why do they call him the Joker?
I don't know. Jokic, the Joker. I would imagine it's kind of a play on the last name.
Jokic, Joker, right. Okay.
He doesn't look like the Joker. He's not a criminal.
He's not
He's too big to be a criminal, right?
Not like
7 feet tall, really difficult to get away with stuff.
Doesn't do like stand-up comedy. He's not a comic.
Oh, maybe. Hilarious. Possibly.
Maybe locker room comedy. Man.
Possibly. Never thought of that. Maybe it's kind of an inside thing.
Slaps everybody with a towel.
He's got one of those like those flowers that squirt the water, like a seltzer bottle. Gives you a squirt. Right.
Maybe. That could make sense.
There's like a lot of feminist jokes and stuff. That's what I heard. So I would imagine they're playing the Timberwolves, who we like. We love Anthony Edwards.
Oh, absolutely.
But they got no fucking shot. So Denver is going to smash through the Timberwolves.
You think
Karl Anthony Towns, I think, is going to be... Well, Timberwolves barely made it in.
Oh,
Karl Anthony Towns is probably going to be gone by the end of the offseason this year. I would imagine it's probably... Good? Yeah, I'm still good. I would imagine it's probably close to the end of Cat in Minnesota.
Oh, this one's not a good.
No?
Hopefully it stays on. Oh, it's blinking.
You don't talk much.
That's not good. No, not really.
No. So, Grizzlies and Lakers. I mean, I love my Lakers. Do I have faith that the Lakers can beat the Grizzlies with John Morant? I absolutely do not. I love LeBron. If LeBron and AD stay healthy, D'Angelo Russell, Austin Reeves, we've been having a nice run. We have a lot of good players. The Grizzlies are just a bit of a better team. One thing I do like, though, about this series is that LeBron has a bit of a hate on for like Desmond Bain and stuff. So Memphis, this might be a good series because LeBron might get a little chippy, and chippy LeBron gets fun because LeBron's pretty aggressive and he's so big that when he gets aggressive, it's like it looks aggressive.
Well, he's a big guy.
So LeBron and Bain got a little bit of they've got a history of some back and forth on the court where Bain gets a little yappy. So we'll see, but...
A little bit of a war, maybe.
Well, I'm not... Yeah, and Minnesota's fucked because, Gobert, they suspended for the one game for punching his own player, and then Jaden McDaniels broke his hand punching a wall when he got kicked out of the last game of the year, so he's not in.
What? Why would you break your money makers?
Just going back to the Nuggets series, that's another reason why the Timberwolves have no chance. But Grizzlies, Lakers, I would say... Fuck. I would probably have to lean Grizzlies. It's gonna have to lean. As much as I like the Lakers, I'm gonna say Grizzlies. Kings Warriors going to be another hell of a series. Do we think the Sacramento Kings, with basically no playoff experience, making their first playoff appearance in 20 years almost, do we think they have the ability to take? You think so?
I think so.
Even with Sabonis and Fox playing the way they've been playing this year, you think I think so. The experience, the legacy is too big for them, and the Warriors just lean on them, and the pressure.
I think they're going to bust under the pressure.
At Steph Curry night after night.
They're going to break under the pressure.
Klay Thompson, Draymond, Wiggins is back.
Yeah,
the Warriors are scary. Anybody understand? I think the Warriors beat the Kings too. Don't undersell the Warriors. And in the final one, before we plug some microphones in, the Clippers against that Durant we were talking about with the Suns, DeAndre Ayton, Devin Booker, obviously Chris Paul. Clippers got everybody healthy right now. Paul George is in, Kawhi's in there.
How's the Wizards doing?
The Wizards are out. The Wizards are out. They're over in the East and out. So they're Bradley Beal and Kyle Kuzma and Kristaps. They're golfing.
Sucks.
They're golfing.
Well, that's good.
So Clippers and Suns, the last one.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Suns. So these are my picks for the NBA round number 1. For everybody who's been sticking around, I'm Cody.
I'm Anthony.
BigBeaverComics.com, Big Beaver Comics on YouTube, Facebook. These books are all 50% off. Join us over on Instagram. Send us your dick pics. Do whatever you want to do.
Absolutely.
Subscribe on YouTube. These are the picks for the first round, and you can take these to the bank. Bucks, Celtics, 76ers, Cavs and Knicks are a toss-up. You guys choose that. That's a pick 'em because I'm not getting involved in it. Nuggets, Grizzlies, Warriors, and the Suns.
Okay.
And if I really had to pick, I think the Cavs edge out the Knicks.
You think so?
If I got to pick.
Who do you think
gun to my head. I got gun to my head, Cavs edge out the Knicks. Edge them out. Okay. It's going to be a hell of a series. It's going to be a shootout. It's going to be the best series, I think, on the docket. People
Who do you think is going to be number 1?
Who do I think is going to win?
Yeah.
The championship?
Yeah.
76ers.
76ers, right.
So I would say, Bucks, Celtics, 76ers, and Cavs. With the Cavs then playing the Bucks. Bucks winning, Sixers playing the Celtics. Sixers beat the Celtics. Sixers beat the Bucks.
Oh, okay.
Sixers go on over here. Nuggets play the Warriors next. Grizzlies play the Suns. Fuck. Suns beat the Grizzlies. Warriors beat the Nuggets.
Yeah.
Suns beat the Warriors. 76ers beat the Suns. That's how I got
it. Take that to the bank. Write that down.
All things being equal, everybody stays healthy, and Cody being the Svengali that I think that I am.
We get a 10% fee for if you win.
And if I'm wrong, I'm going to shave my taint live on the internet. So you better fucking pray I'm right.
Right.
I'm going to have a smoke.
Yeah, please.